Laura Heise from Augsburg College. Thanks for joining us.
I'm so excited to be here.
How about this? You nervous at all?
Maybe a little. Maybe a little.
Well, I know anything you'd be transparent. We could talk
For
about
sure.
it and get through it.
For sure.
What's awesome is, Laura, it's awesome to see you here. You're a person that I got to know through social media last year, and it was really the introduction, watching the introduction of the ABCA into your coaching career.
Right.
Like I'm telling you, that is a cool dynamic from where I sit.
Awesome.
Just take us through this, man. This is year 2 for you.
Yeah.
Year
Yeah.
1, how were you?
Year one was, jaw on the floor.
Yes.
I couldn't believe the amount of people here,
Yep.
the amount of information that was out there. I mean, just the whole experience was just unbelievable.
That's awesome.
So knowing that, I knew that I couldn't miss another one.
I love it. Put it on a T-shirt right now.
Right.
Yep.
Got to do it.
Yes.
Got to come back.
Gosh, here's the beauty of it when you really think about it. You've been to 2 conventions and we set records at both these.
I mean,
You have to come every year.
I don't know. It's probably not a coincidence, but
You brought the heat with you.
but I don't want to let anybody down.
Oh,
so.
no. So year 2, I'm guessing if you're sitting at home, Laura, are you thinking differently about the event? Are you planning differently? Did you approach this one with a much different mindset or game plan walking into it?
For sure. So year one, I didn't really know what to expect. So I just wanted to soak in all the information. It was like, you get up, you go to the clinics,
Right.
and then you go to bed, and then you
Right.
do it all over again. So it was a little bit of an information overload for me.
Sure.
Year one, but going into this year, there was a couple things that I for sure wanted to do. You know, a couple people I wanted to talk to.
Yep.
Knowing that the clinic videos were going to be available,
Right.
and the expo theater videos were super
Yeah, it's
helpful.
huge. Yeah.
That was huge.
Yeah.
So knowing that there wasn't that time crunch that I had to get to everything.
Yeah.
Like if I wanted to sit and talk to, someone who came up and asked me, "Oh, a softball coach, why are you here?" I totally
Right.
could do it without
doubt.
feeling like I'm missing anything, speaker-wise. So
Are you getting some of that? Are you getting some conversation?
yeah, just today we were out here waiting for the trade show to open. I was just standing there, and someone came over to me. He's like, "Well, was there a softball convention?" I was like, "Absolutely, I was at that."
Right.
He's like, "Well, is there softball stuff going on here?" I go, "No, this is baseball." He's like, "Oh." And I get a lot of that.
Connect the dots.
It's really fun to, explain to people that, there's definitely a parallel between softball and baseball.
Go into that, please.
There's
Yep.
everybody asks, like, what's the difference between softball and baseball? And I'm
Right.
like, well, nothing. Aside from the size of the ball, the size of the field,
That's right.
a few like mechanical things, but the similarities far outweigh the differences
That's
when you
right.
compare the two sports. So it's like, well, why wouldn't I come and add to my knowledge base,
Right.
at the baseball convention? Because if I'm only going to softball, that's great. I love my softball roots.
Right.
I love, everybody that's there connecting with the softball coaches. But, if we're talking 6,500 coaches, that just opens up my network
That's right.
by that many. So it's like, why wouldn't I come to this?
Oh.
Why wouldn't I want to experience it and talk to all these guys and, answer those questions like, why baseball
I
if
love
you're a
it.
softball person? So it's like, it's basically a no-brainer for me at this point. So.
I love it. Take our guys, especially the folks that are out here listening, and you being our second softball coach on the podcast, give like we do on our show. Give us the history. Give us the career path that brought you here today.
Sure. So my first coaching position was right out of college. I coached with my coach that I had in college, Jen Walter, up at St. Scholastica. Coached with her for a year.
Shout out, Jen. We miss you.
Hey, Jen, you're missing out big time.
Get here, get to Nashville. Yep.
So coached with her for a year. It was, it's an interesting transition going from player to coach,
Oh, yeah.
especially with people that you played with. So
yeah.
there's definitely a learning curve there. I'm from Minneapolis, so I moved back home. I actually coached at Augsburg once before.
Oh, wow. I
Before
didn't know
this
that.
stop, yeah. So
Okay.
just part-time stipend.
Yep.
Gotta
Been
have
there.
that full-time job.
Sure.
So coached at a couple different spots there, and ended up actually coaching for 4 years at a high school in the Twin Cities at Wayzata High School.
Gotcha.
4 years there, and then an opportunity came up for me to coach Division II at Concordia St. Paul.
Yep.
So I jumped on that chance. You think D2. I've never coached D2
Right,
before, so
right.
that was really exciting to me. And spent 2 years really kind of, like I emailed you, I was kind of
Yep.
at this coaching crossroads.
Yep.
Where I could have stuck with what I knew,
Yep.
the softball world and everything like that. Or I could have, maybe stepped outside my comfort zone a little bit, because I was literally sitting on my couch 2 summers ago, and I came across the hashtag ABCA chat, and I was like,
There it
what is this? Like, I had no idea. So I clicked on it, and I was reading through all the posts and stuff. I'm like, well, shoot, I could talk about
That's
this.
it, no doubt.
So I was like, okay, so I made a note, 2 weeks after that chat.
Yep.
It's like, okay, I have 2 choices. I could either do it or not, because for me, I think if I'm going to do what I've always done,
Yep.
I'm going to get what I've always gotten. Okay.
Say it again for the people in the back. I love
So
it.
if I'm doing what I've always done, I'm going
Right.
to get what I've always gotten. So it's like, not that that's bad.
Right.
Okay, because I've had a lot of good things happen in softball with
Yep.
coaching and playing and stuff. But it's like if
You
I'm
have to
gonna
evolve.
if I'm gonna ask my players to step outside their comfort
Right.
zone, I have to do that myself.
That's right.
So how can I expect them to do it if I'm not willing to do that? So and it's on something as simple as Twitter.
That's right.
You know what I
That's
mean?
right.
But it's honestly like there wasn't any sort of like risk for me. Like
Yeah.
it was very low risk,
It's an interesting way of putting it.
but the reward was like, astronomical. Because it's like if someone doesn't respond to me from a tweet, like who cares? I don't
Right.
even know who that person is.
Right.
But that didn't happen. Like I got responses,
Engagement
I got
central.
positive feedback, I
Yep.
got questions, and I was like, whoa, okay, so I'm gonna just keep doing it and keep engaging with these guys and
That's awesome.
putting it out there, and if this is what we do,
Yep.
you can be like, oh yeah, awesome, or not even read it. That was kind of my approach to things, and it's just kind of snowballed, and here I am.
That's awesome. Well, you certainly are one of our most loyal ABCA chatters, and it's I always look at that softball community as one that we need to bring that dynamic between the softball group, the baseball group, and just keep blending it and keep smoothing it over and keep just like Murph has done here for the last 30 years.
For sure.
And I think he's been a guy. You would ask him just like he came on our podcast and said, yeah, he answers those questions all the time. Well, man, you're the softball coach,
Right.
and so again, I think we are all in the same community of learners, and certainly you exhibit that tenfold of trying to, as you mentioned, get to a place of a little bit of uncomfortability. I think it's a place that it's a safe place of challenging thought, which again, we'll get the same results if we keep doing what we always done.
Right.
But there's a lot of coaches that are having great success. But where I go back to in the conversations we have here on the floor are, but can it be a little bit better? Because you haven't won 10 national championships in a row.
Right.
So I know you're winning 40 games or
Right.
going to regionals, but like it can be dialed up. And I think there's I think every coach that's come up here, and I even talked with one last night, Laura, that we're, hey, what do you want to go into on the podcast stage? And I said, well, I think one thing that keeps coming up is that they are in a state of challenging themselves around technology. That word's been brought up in every,
For sure.
but we're all in that state. That's
Yep.
my point. I think from the softball and baseball end, it all blends because we're all adapting to this new language of analytics, this new era of data and technology. And how has your transition been inside that specifically?
Well, we just got done listening to Justin Stone up
Right.
in the expo stage. He did a free seminar at our softball coaches clinic offsite. So it's like you have Justin saying the same thing at softball
Right.
as he did baseball.
Same
So it's
presentation.
just with the few,
Sure.
we didn't have the, not the size of the stage, but
right.
it was essentially the same message. And technology is it's only going to add to what you're doing with your program.
Right.
But you have to find there's a fine line, because you can get really deep into technology and want to add everything.
Right.
You just kind of have to know your players and know your squad and
Yep.
what's going to work best for you. So it's like finding that fine line as far as, okay, what do I want to implement?
Yep.
What is it going to be, and how am I going to use it to best suit my players? So that's kind of where I'm at right now as far as, figuring out what I want to do. There's so much stuff out there, but, still in the, early phases of finding out that side.
We're dipping toes, but now it's a foot, and we're getting there.
Yeah, and it's all trial and error. You can't be afraid to fail
That's right.
with that kind of stuff. And
That's
especially, this game it's a game of failure.
No doubt.
All around,
No doubt.
on the field, off the field, whatever. But it's how you, use that to make yourself better.
Well, I'm going to nominate you as for president of the Lifelong Learning Club, and here's why. And for anybody watching this or anybody that's listening to this and you pay attention to social media, your marker board in your office and the notes that you take and the colors and the pens and I can't tell you enough that in full, again, honesty is just, there's almost nothing more motivating for me when I'm behind that podcast mic is that there's people that are listening with that intent, that they are literally categorizing topics and they're taking notes and they're writing quotes and they're really blocking off time in their office to manage this information. Laura, I'm telling you, it's that's why you're an easy choice to jump up here, because again, you're going to win president of this, man.
Oh my
I'm gonna
gosh.
put you up. It's awesome. But have you always had that? Is that something that's always been kind of at the core of your motivation?
I would say in the past couple years, I've really kind of explored that a little more.
Okay.
Knowing that the information is out there, just wanting to learn everything I can, and like
Right.
I said, how I could best use it for my players.
Yep.
But yeah, the podcasts have been great. I listen all the time.
I know you do.
You know, I take
know you're
those
there.
notes, you know.
Yep, yep.
So, but it's only, like I said, it's, why not? It's like, it's, not coming to ABCA, not listening to those podcasts, not interacting with coaches. It's like,
Right.
if I weren't to do that, it's like I'm leaving $1 million on the table. Like, why wouldn't I want to take that?
That quote will show up in the podcast intro. That's money in the bank. That is a certified audio gold moment right there, Laura.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I love it. That uncomfortability, I love that word. And do you catch yourself, no matter what the conversation is, whether it's a hitting conversation or a infield or outfield or catching a podcast that we're doing, do you catch yourself listening? Because I do as a host. Like when I'm talking with Jason Ochar, when I'm talking with Jeff Albert, when I'm talking with Tom Griffin, whoever it is, they say things and I just go, oh, like that hurts because I didn't coach that way. I didn't think that way. Do you catch yourself in those moments?
Yes, all the time.
How do you respond?
And it's all a learning process.
Right.
Knowing that, if I was teaching something at the time, that was probably what was the standard
Yes,
or the norm.
no doubt.
So it's just, thinking about those and maybe not wanting to let that happen.
Yeah.
And being more proactive in the learning and
Yep.
being on the forefront of all the information out there instead of doing what everybody else is doing.
Yep.
Kind of, like I said, being proactive and seeking out that information so you could, best coach your players.
Sure.
So,
Sure.
there's definitely been moments where it's like, oh, man,
Yeah.
I taught
Yeah,
it
yeah.
that way. That's so bad.
That's the journey, though, isn't it?
It is. It totally is. And it's all a part of, coaching and learning and
That's right.
all that. So, just kind of you just got to take the punches, man.
That's it. So what do you got? What are you looking most forward to the rest of this convention?
Well, Kai and Tuck's infield presentation tomorrow morning. I'm
Front
super,
row. I expect you to be there.
Yeah. I'm excited, too, for the hot stoves. Those are always fun.
Yeah.
I know the infield one, I think Kai said it's going to be more interactive.
Yes.
More small group
We've
stuff.
got bases. We've got baseballs. We've
Let's
got
go.
all of it. Yes.
Let's go.
It'll
Should
be
have brought my
great.
glove. What was I thinking?
No doubt. You go buy one right here in the trade show.
I could go right over here. And I'm excited to hear Clay Cox, his
Yes.
infield talk in the Expo Theater. I know
Yes.
he's an infield guy, and I've always liked him. I've actually used or stolen a bunch of his stuff
There you
to
go.
use with my
We all
team, and
do.
it's been great. So. I don't know, and then just looking forward to meeting more people, and if anybody wants to talk baseball/softball, I'm
it.
always game, So
what I
just
love.
trying to get that checklist.
Oh
done.
yeah. How are you going so
Well,
far?
I'm got 2 done.
Okay.
Check number 1
the
off
bro hug.
with the
Yeah,
bro
no
hug.
doubt, no
Hello. So
Crush
just-
the podcast. Add that.
that was
check
that
mark.
I got to add that to the list.
Oh,
that was
love
an
it.
unexpected addition to my list.
Ugh.
So
Well, we missed Jen. Coxie's here. Yolanda's here. There's a host of softball coaches that
Yep.
are here, but more than that, like you and I've talked before, you're part of this fraternity in so many ways. And
Yeah.
so from where
Yeah.
we sit, we appreciate who you are, what you are for this association.
Perfect.
Keep grinding, keep learning,
Thank
keep
you.
being who you are, and let us know how we can help. But thanks
Thank
for
you.
jumping on with us.
Awesome. I'm proud to be part of this fraternity. So anything I could do to help.